Find yourself a booth, order up a cold one. This is the Spring Bar.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Spring Bar. Glad to have you here. I am Florida Mike, sitting here with my co-host, Joey from the block.
Ooh,
Joe, how you doing today?
Nice. That was completely my street name.
Do you have the booty to match?
I don't like to brag.
I'll take your word for it. I've never
Yes,
seen
please
it.
do.
Yeah. So how you doing today?
I am well, sir. I am well. The weather is not cooperating, but you know what? We'll survive. It's like 74 degrees, but it's a hot breeze coming in from the desert. So
well, I remember last time we talked, you had the hot temperatures and I didn't. Now it seems to be reversed. We're getting into those low 90s and
really?
humidity is starting now. So
Goodness gracious.
Yep. Summer is upon us.
Summer is upon us in late April.
Yeah, well,
as it were for this recording bit. So we're going to jump right into it here. We got some new watch alerts for myself. I have the final, hopefully, perhaps, possibly,
that we know of.
We don't know because we didn't know that this one existed either. It is the black dial version of my Skittles collection.
Your snorkel Skittles.
Right, 1974 oceanographer. Well, it's not an oceanographer. I apologize. It's a 1974 snorkel 666. And I've got the red, blue, and green dial. And this is the black dial with the Coke version.
So we just talked last episode about completing collections, and you've gone and done it.
All four of them.
So for that, at least.
For that one, the issue is there's an Accutron set.
Yeah.
Which is not 4. It's only going to be 3, and I have the black currently. So now I got to try to find the other. I have the bezel for the blue one. The green.
But a question for you is, I've sent you some listings in the past of the Accutron versions, and you said, "Oh, well, that's the Accutron version." So are you not interested in doing the Accutron versions, or are you going to now?
I am interested, but I wanted to get through something else first. There's a nice blue one that's up, and I've seen that a couple of times. I know somebody who's got some that said he'd be willing to sell them to me for a bargain price of $1,200.
Well, why not?
Well, like you do. So yeah. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but we'll see.
Are those different sized cases?
They are. It's a little bit bigger. It's a slightly larger case. The bezel is definitely bigger, right? Because we talked about that. I have my blue dial has a couple problems with the bezel, and so we found this other one that was just going for nothing, absolutely nothing. But it's nowhere close to fitting. So it's like 2 millimeters too big,
which is a shame because that's a beautiful looking bezel.
It is. So that's what I got. What do you got, new watch wise, sir?
I've got 2. Let me reach and grab the first one we're going to talk about. This is number 9 in the Jetstar collection. This is 1973 Bulova Jetstar F. And I liked this one so much, I bought it twice.
That's incorrect. I believe you bought it 3 times?
No, only twice.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I bought it twice. So there was a listing that we had talked about last episode that I said had the original strap, the original buckle. The case had some problems to it. It sold for fairly cheap, but we're talking minutes before that listing ended. I found this one, which came just watch head only, came not running. And the case is just phenomenal, beautiful, and it's even better in person than it looked at on the pictures. And I tell you what, these flat top flange crystals are the easiest things to polish out. I love working on these. It looks like brand new. You wouldn't even know there was anything wrong with it. No scratches or nothing. So I bought this nice little reddish brown leather strap to put it on. I think it pairs quite well, especially with that. What would you call that? Ombre, fume, transitioned dial, black to gold.
Okay, yeah. It's a funky color set. It's nice though.
It is nice. And what's neat about it too is the black portion, your hour markers are white, and your gold portion, they're black. You'll have to look at a picture closely. But so here's a cool thing too. This one has what we're going to call the thinner handset and the stick second hand. I've never seen it in photos. The only time I've ever seen this handset that I'm about to talk about is in advertising and the line book. It is a thicker hour and minute hand, and it has a second hand with what I was talking with somebody, and we're calling it the s'mores marshmallow second hand, because it looks like a poker with a marshmallow on the end of it.
Oh, see, I would go with it. I'd call it the See's Candy lollipop.
Well, that could be too. Yeah. So it's just got like a little rectangular block at the end of it with a wider hour and minute hands. And that is a super rare handset, which I actually bought last night, and it is on its way here, and I will do a handset swap. So this one will contain the rare handset.
So like I said, you bought it 3 times.
Well, okay, I guess 2.5, we'll call it. So we'll give the story real quick. If you guys haven't, if you don't follow me personally, you haven't heard about the story. Found this one on eBay, bought it, was sent. The wrong watch came in the box. It was a gold plated with a kind of goldish dial. So I can understand how they got confused.
Yeah, confusion
and
is
the wrong
real.
one.
It was a Bulova too, which makes it even better.
Mm-hmm. So I contacted the seller right away. I said, "Hey, listen, you sent me the wrong watch. Hopefully mine didn't go to whoever this one was supposed to go to." She says, "Well, my boyfriend handles that. Let me get a hold of him. We'll figure it all out." Perfect. I went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night, checked my phone, and got a message from the seller that said, "Hey, good news. We found your watch." Perfect. Then I read the second message that followed and says, "I've already relisted it, so you can purchase it again."
There you go. There
so
you
I told
go.
him, I said, "Please don't do that. I will stop the return process so nothing gets refunded. I will pay out of my pocket to send you this one back. You paid to send me the correct one. All is good with the world." And then I'm thinking with my, half asleep brain at 2:00 in the morning, well, what if somebody else buys it? So I had to click buy it now again. So I paid for this watch 2 times and had nothing in hand. All is well with the world. I've gotten refunded from the first purchase. I got this watch. It was just a journey, which leads me into new watch alert number 2, which is going to be my wrist check, because I am wearing my Bulova Stars and Stripes Chronograph C.
Okay,
and
but now
I like this watch so much, I bought it twice as well.
There it is.
What's funny is this purchase and the Jetstar F purchase both went bad back-to-back days.
It was fantastic. The DMs between the two of us were just killers. Like, you'll never believe what happened now.
Yeah. So bought this watch on eBay from a company, not an individual. It came as a refurbished, the secondary box. It was a Bulova box, but it wasn't the original, all that kind of stuff. That's fine. It was cheap. Package came, opened up the shipping package. Inside was said box that was supposed to be there. Felt extremely light. The first thing I thought in my mind was, wow, I'm really not going to enjoy wearing this because it doesn't have any weight to it.
Oh, see, because I immediately would have thought, quartz movement.
Open up the box. The only thing inside was the pillow.
Yes.
No watch.
Yes.
So I immediately messaged the seller, said, "Hey, guess what? There's nothing inside the box." I even sent them a picture. I said, "I sent you this picture so you can share in my surprise," in that there was nothing inside.
You can share in my surprise.
The kicker was they included a letter that says, "Thank you for your purchase. We appreciate your business, yada, yada, yada. We inspect all watches before shipping out to ensure functionality before delivering to you." So I feel as if this should have been caught, but I don't know.
Based upon their corporate messaging, perhaps so.
You would think.
You would think.
So they responded back to me and said, "Well, just open a case with eBay." That was their customer service response. Open a case with eBay. So I did.
Yes, you did.
And I called them because they supplied a phone number on said sheet that says they inspected watches. So I called them up. I said, "Listen, I've emailed you. I've reached out to you via eBay." The immediate response I got was to start a case against you with eBay. I said, I feel like you should have a better customer service response. So what can we do? The guy says, well, let me look. I don't have anything available to send you. That was my last one in stock. So we'll just refund you. I said, okay. I said, well, here's the thing. I have an empty box. You must have a watch laying around somewhere. Do you feel like searching wherever it is you do your shipping to see if perhaps it's there? No, it's going to take over a week. What do you want to do? I said, you know what? Just give me my money back. That's fine. 2 days later.
Did you return the box?
No, I still have it.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. So 2 days later, they relist the watch on their store.
You got to send them a message saying, do you actually have the watch this time?
Yeah, right. I should. So I didn't want to be that guy. I posted on my Instagram story, listen, buyer beware. I wasn't trying to slam the seller at all, but I just wanted to make people aware of what's going on in case you were thinking of buying something from them or you have a similar story or whatever. Turns out somebody had messaged me with a screenshot of a conversation they had with one of their friends that said, I just bought something from them, but everything turned out fine with that. eBay reached out to me. It was a whole thing. Long story short, again, I got my refund. I got made whole by them. I left my negative feedback, because this was a poor situation. However, things happen for a reason. So through all that, somebody reached out to me that works at a local Bulova AD and says, I happen to have a Stars and Stripe in stock. Perfect. Go back and forth, make an appointment to go into the store. In this conversation, he says, well, I just want to let you know, it was a display model. It has a special marking on the back. Some people get turned off by that. He says it may have a couple little scratches here and there. I said, perfect. If you know anything about me, I love those weird stories. So as he educated me, when a watch is given to a jewelry store or an AD or a department store to use for a display, once they're finished with it, it gets sent back to Bulova, and on the back of it, they engrave a single B to the case back.
Becomes B stock rather than A stock.
Yeah, to designate that it's not a factory fresh model. And then it gets sold through these, I guess we'll call them like the outlet AD stores.
Refurbishers or whatever else.
Yeah, go into the store. The guy tells me, he says, oh, hey, we had a second one. He says, it's almost perfect. It doesn't have the B on the back. And I figured you want that one more. I says, nope, I want that one with the B. So Joe and I we text back and forth about it. I had no pictures of it. We're only going off what the guy's telling us. And I got there, I snapped a picture of the case back and said, it's legit. So sure enough, it has that B.
Because the issue was in 2000, Bulova switched over their code because it's a numerical alphanumeric code. And so the letter at the beginning and then a number at the end, and the letter will denominate the decade and the number will denominate the year within that decade. And so 2000 was A0, 2001 A1. So 2010 was B0. And we said there was a B on the back of it. I'm like, okay, so is it a 20? So
we didn't know if maybe he was thinking it was the date code.
Yeah, so that was curious, but no, it's a legit, totally different, larger size serif. I mean, it's so cool. it's actually date coded B7, so it's from 2017. But at the bottom of that case back, and we'll have the picture's already been up by now, but it has the B on the bottom of it. So very cool little story. So I'm glad the first sale went bad because it gave me the opportunity to own something a little bit more rare with a cool story behind it. But hang on, because we're not going to name any names here. But now we've got a connection.
We do.
This is the important part, because that means what else did you? Okay, so let's talk about what else you tried on at that same.
So I tried on which is probably going to be my next modern Bulova purchase. They had the all polished Lunar Pilot Special Edition. That has that all polished case. It comes on the black NATO. That was very cool. The no date version, yeah, that's where it's at.
No bracelet with that one though. Just
no bracelet, and I don't like the way the bracelet looks on it. To be honest with you, if I was going to put a bracelet on it, I do the Forstner, the Comfit, that vintage look. That's a nice combo.
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll get to
But
that.
yeah, we'll talk about that. But I've seen these on various other or leather straps and NATOs, and there's a lot of good combinations out there for that polished case version.
There can be. And then what else did you try?
Tried on the 44 millimeter Devil Diver, the Coke version. Same thing, just larger.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. It would wore nice. That's the thing about these. So the Stars and Stripes is 45 millimeters. The Lunar
big,
Pilot
but it's supposed to be though.
What? Yeah. The original was what, 42 or 43?
At least. Yeah.
The Lunar Pilot is 46. The 44 millimeter Oceanographer. I apparently must have a larger than normal wrist size because a lot of people complain about how big they are. These things are wearing really nice on me. Lastly, I tried on, and I'm saving it for the end because I know this is the one you want me to mention, the Mill Ships, which is an absolutely awesome piece. In fact, so much so, I got somebody to buy one.
It's a good watch. It really, really is. JP's been wearing mine. If you haven't seen the pictures from Ghost and Crown, he spent the week by a lighthouse, and there was
talk about a cool vacation spot.
He's been having a ball.
He has.
Wearing my watch. So what's in the glass? Because we got to get into it.
Yeah, we got to get into it. So I'm drinking, who makes this? New Belgium, Dominga, Mimosa Sour.
Mimosa Sour?
Mimosa Sour, yeah. I've been kind of into these sours lately, and this one just sounded appealing for the weekend. Why not? It tastes great. Not quite mimosa level, but a mixture between a mimosa, sour, citrusy beer. It's fantastic.
All right. Well, on my wrist,
what's your wrist check?
In order to compete, I have on our friend Ghost and Crown's beautiful Universal Geneve pull router jet, gold plated, automatic micro rotor on black leather. It's such a really nice watch. You're
gonna be sad to let that one go.
No, I'm not, because I'm sitting here staring at 2 watch boxes full of Bulova, and I'm pretty satisfied with what I've got. And I know that if I hung on to this one, some things would have to change. And I'm satisfied with my life as it is, and I'm okay with that. I will stick with my choices. And in the glass is a casked Boulevardier that I mixed up, which is a Negroni, but instead of gin, it's done with bourbon. And in this case, mostly rye, because I am American, and that's what I'm drinking, and it's lovely.
Sounds good. I've always wanted to try a Negroni. Never had one before, but they sound good.
Yeah.
I see that. Well, when I come out there one day.
Someday, we'll mix up a pitcher, and we'll sit on my patio with my
Negronis and steaks.
Yes.
That's a good pairing.
It actually is. It's really lovely.
Yeah. So today, what are we talking about?
Today we are talking about straps. We're talking about what are your strap options. We're talking about what are your pairing options. We're talking about what do some watches look like with a bunch of different straps. What, if you've got a strap monster, how do you know? All of the stuff that goes along those lines. So why don't you tell us about some straps, Mike?
Your strap collection can be bigger than your watch collection, really, if you do it right. Yeah.
So there's a guy that I know through OC Chrono. His name's Cameron, and he has a fantastic collection of watches. He's got some beautiful, beautiful pieces, vintage Rolex. He's got a Speak Marin that's just gorgeous. And it's all nice. His watch collection is fantastic. However, his custom and bespoke strap collection.
Oh, is he the one?
He's the one. It is just insane. He's got cashmere plaids that have been done. He's got a beautiful assortment of Ray stuff. He's got vintage clasps that he's thrown. And at the meetup before last, I told him, look, I know your strap game is on fire. You need to bring the straps. And as I was parking, I saw him walking in, and he's carrying, it looks like kind of
like a little briefcase.
Not even he was carrying a couple, and it was like sort of a folio little leather thing. And I'm like,
that's a better description.
It's there. So he shows up and he starts unzipping them, and he brought like 150 different straps.
You have pictures. We'll put the pictures in here.
I've got they're in custom made leather folios that his strap maker also makes. and the folios cost just a little bit more than some of the straps did.
Yeah.
It's great. And so the idea is that the appropriate strap or bracelet can make the watch. And we've talked about this a little bit before, but we kind of wanted to go a bit deeper into it. And we've got examples, and we'll be throwing up pictures.
Not only can it make the watch, but it can renew your passion for a watch too. It can make it feel brand new. Straps are amazing what they can do. So let's get into the types real quick. You have leather straps, exotic leather straps, NATO straps, Zulu straps, handmade straps, tropic straps, which would fall into the category of rubber or urethane, bracelets, various types in there. You have oyster bracelets, beads of rice bracelets, brick bracelets, 5-link bracelets, vintage bracelets. I mean, you can go on and on and on with the different types of variations that there are. And
2-piece straps, single-piece straps, double straps.
Yeah, leather NATOs. That's another one.
Bund.
My personal favorite.
Okay, but say what you will. I was sharing with Luis that there's a watch that he's got, and it's a tiny little, vintage Bulova, but it was on a lizard bund. And I'd never seen anything like it. And so I shared it with him. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got one of those." I'm like, "Yeah, but do you have the strap?" Because something that comes up, and it's I know that you are anti-bund, which is fine. If you've got a smaller watch, and it's something I never really thought about, if you have a smaller piece, if you have a vintage piece, something from the 40s or 50s, because the watch sizes were smaller, 32, and they look like ladies' watches, you throw it onto a bund, and you're golden, right? It amplifies the wrist presence, it magnifies the watch. It's a great way to wear some of your vintage pieces if it's something that doesn't get a whole lot of love. It could handle that.
To each their own. it's not my bunds are like you and leather on divers.
Touche.
But it is an option. And I will say there are some military watches. When you put it on one, it looks okay. I would never wear it that way, but in pictures, it's not bad. I'll click like.
Yeah. There's some really good options there. So, to kind of get into it a little bit, like one of the watch that kind of Mike and I bonded over was the Bulova Surfboard reissue, right? And it's you know it, you love it. It's a great watch. It looks good. It functions well. And it comes on, you've got it there with you, right, Mike? It comes on this kind of orange tropic.
Yeah, the orange tropic style with
the clasp.
Yeah, the butterfly clasp.
It's not bad. It's actually, so in terms of tropic straps and reissue tropics, it's very supple.
It is that.
And it's not an uncomfortable bracelet by any means.
The problem I have with it, and I wish I had my calipers handy, is it's very thick. Yeah. And I didn't like the way it wears, especially when you put the butterfly clasp in there. It just adds even more to it, and it didn't fit very well on my wrist. Right.
And so you've got yours on.
I have mine on my favorite type of exotic leather, the Stingray strap. Now the Stingray,
it's a good choice.
You can get a Stingray strap made one of three ways. There is what they call it pearlized. So that's an unfinished Stingray. It just looks like a bunch of bumps. You can have a semi-polished, which is sanded down slightly, or you can have a polished, which this is, and they essentially sand down all the bumps. They get that inner, what would that be? The keratin to come through, and that's what gives you that white pearlescent look. And then they dye it in whatever color you desire, and you end up with something that is absolutely just beautiful to look at. This one, I mean, what else would you pair with a watch that's called the Deep Sea? Stingray is the way to go. The options of making a Stingray strap, or any exotic leather strap for that matter, are almost endless. But I think it matches the colors of this watch beautifully. So that was my choice.
It goes well. And see, I went a totally different route. I have a Nick Menke design elastic.
Mhm.
that I got in orange. And so it's basically a one-piece strap, and then with the way that you just adjust the buckles will give you your setup. And so there's no, it's
So
elastic.
all that is one piece?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
So it's a continual loop. Getting it on, it comes with an instruction manual because it has to, because you take a look, it's like, okay, I don't know how this spaghetti is going to work.
Yeah.
But you get it on, it's majorly comfortable. It works really, really well. If your wrist changes size, hot day, or you've eaten a bunch of potato chips, you've got options in terms of what you do with that and how it comes across. I like it. I really do like it. I think that it's comfortable. It works well with the watch. I don't have to worry about getting it wet.
Does that
Because
elastic feel itchy at all, or is it comfortable?
not at all. It's very, very
No?
comfortable. And so
Okay.
that's kind of a calling card of the Nick Menke setup for that. But when we're talking about, you've got your natural leathers and you've got all of the options that come with that, and you can get exotic into the space. So you've got your leather and your croc embossed, lizard embossed, and that's just basically a stamping that they do onto the outside in the preparation of the leather. And then you can actually get actual lizard or whatever
Actual
else.
alligator, crocodile.
Hippopotamus.
I mean, you can get ostrich, you can get chicken, I've seen frog skin straps.
Ooh.
You have to have either a very large frog or a lot of them to make one of those.
There's a ton of stuff, like basically anything that has a skin.
Yeah.
But something that came out, and it was part of the 60s synthetics, and Bulova did a bit with them, and it's Corfin. And it's sort of a suede, but
kind of a suede with a plastic backing.
Yeah.
Sounds horrible, but it's not uncomfortable to wear.
No, they're supple, they're comfortable. They do separate though. And that is one issue. So if you can find some that are like new old stock, you're in better shape versus the vintage ones.
Which yours is.
Mine is, and the one that I sent you, it's kind of the same thing. And then we've got the discussion of like, so you have tropics and varying types of tropic that go along those lines. So let me see if I can give you an example here. So this is a vintage tropic, and you can see that it has it's kind of managed to hold a shape, because it's stiff. They're very, very stiff. It's much more plasticky than necessarily rubbery, even though it is initially a rubber style. Then you can get into sort of the newer versions of that, which this is a straps toe, and it's much more supple.
A lot more supple, yeah.
But doesn't quite, it's not going to hold the shape in kind of the same way.
Yeah, I have a Strapsco Tropic Rally on my Vintage Seiko. A great look, but the same thing. Just like that. Except mine's orange.
Yeah, and they're incredibly comfortable, insanely comfortable.
Yeah, very much.
Now I know that there's lots of people they will complain about those because they're lint magnets. It's like, well,
yeah, they are, but it is what it is.
And so going from that, then it kind of gets you into your NATO space, and NATO. So the NATO thing is a little bit different, just from the fact that it's a military strap.
Let me read you something here. So funny, talking about Strapsco, this is coming from the Strapsco website, and I'll paraphrase what they have written here. So it says 1973 British Ministry of Defense added to their catalog standard issue gear a new item named strap, wristwatch. These came in Admiralty gray, 20 millimeter, and were equipped with chrome plated buckles. Yada yada yada. Tells you how you wear them. It wraps around your wrist and you fold over what's left over. It says these watch straps were eventually nicknamed the G10 straps in reference to the G10 form that had to be filled out in order to order one. The NATO designation came much later, in that it was a reference to the 13-digit NATO stock number assignment to the strap. It says since then, the G10 NATO has become a favorite among watch fans everywhere. So you can get these in very military styled straps. You can get them in the James Bond straps that everybody knows and loves. And you can get them in fun prints. Cheapest NATO straps is probably the best one
God,
to
yeah.
have fun, prints. You can get themed prints. You can get prints for the holidays. You can get
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. I mean,
one of the benefits, like the big selling point though of the NATO strap in particular, and it was a watch safety device.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, so in the event that like you popped off a spring bar, you still have this underpart, and that'll hang on to the strap for you. And I know there's lots of people that they will actually remove this whole flap because it'll wear thick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the kicker here. But in terms of color options, sky's the limit. I've got a beautiful Gulf one that I wear with my my Devil Divers.
It's probably one of the best customizable straps for your watch.
Oh, simply.
And what's great about them is they're so simple to change out. I mean, it literally takes you a minute to pull off the old one, put on the new one, and you've got a whole new look.
Yeah, it'll resuscitate the watch.
Yeah, and for a long time, I used to be anti-NATO, believe it or not, until
really?
I'm trying to remember what watch I first put on a NATO strap. I can't remember, and then I became a huge fan of them. I probably have more NATO straps in my strap box than anything else at this point. Because again, they're so versatile. They're so easy to change out. You sweat into them. You just run them under some water with some soap, clean them up, renew them, and then you put it on something else. They're fantastic. They really are.
So for the issue with NATOs, though, for a lot of the NATOs, is that they can be incredibly stiff. Do they take some breaking in?
Well, it depends on the material used.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does depend on the material used. So let's talk about the seatbelt strap.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got that blue one, which inspired me to get this maroon one as well. And
so I have that blue one, and I also have a new colorway. So this is a Warnakoff NATO, and they have this super soft, super pliable, nice and thin seatbelt material, which is just fantastic to wear. The cool part about
it as well.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
The cool part about this is it has an adjustable, or not really adjustable, but a floating keeper. So depending on how much you have that tail, you can adjust how high that tail comes, or you can wrap it under your wrist. So that's another cool feature too I like about this. But these are super comfortable.
Yeah, it's similar. Like I've got those woven Perlon straps too that I've done a couple of I'll throw a lady diver onto it the same way as you put like a compass.
Like a compass, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a similar type of material. It's just as comfortable. They breathe a little bit better. There's a little bit of flex to them. But the seatbelt straps and the Warnakoff stuff, I can't just discount. The seatbelt straps are really, really nice. And so
the seatbelt straps are nice. However, I do have one from Bond Street NATOs. It's the No Time to Die version. And that is a very thick seatbelt material. It's great. I put it on my Seiko Comax I wear at work. It's great for that because it's rugged and it holds up to a lot.
Right.
But for me to wear it for something comfortable, I think that one doesn't quite work like these Warnakoffs do.
The Warnakoff, I know that he's working on different sizes because he's currently like 20s and 22s millimeters.
He's 18, 20, and 22. Yeah. So he's very limited as to what he has and colorways that he has. But if he's got something that is the look that you're going after, I highly recommend them. They're super comfortable to wear. And what are they? $19 too. Can't go wrong with them.
Yeah. Nice guy. So what we're gonna do, we'll drop in some pictures here because I've got this. It's the Caravelle Sea Devil.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one I've got on a Strapsco flat link straight in link bracelet. And so I'll show some pictures that I've got two different NATOs that work really, really well with this. And they highlight kind of the bezel and highlight some of the differences that can go on, because you can use the colors of the NATO to bring out slightly different things that are going on within the strap. But for me personally, I am a bracelet guy. If the watch comes on a bracelet, I would much prefer the bracelet. And in fact, sometimes I can find a bracelet that works. Sometimes you can find something else. And so, case in point is this this Sea Devil, because
Mhm.
I've got it on this Strapsco flat link, and it's something I want to kind of do a shout out to the SoCal Watch Reviews that I was on with them last week, and Miguel he was wearing in tribute. We were talking about Bulova watches, and in tribute, he was wearing his Railroad. Railroad approved
The
218
Accutron.
movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice watch, and it was his dad's watch, and so his dad just
Mhm.
kind of gave it to him. But he had that on his Strapsco bracelet that fit the Index. It was just a beautiful, beautiful combination, and went really well. And I didn't get the chance to talk to him because the Strapsco stuff, I've got a couple. I've got their NATOs, I've got a couple rally straps, and then I've got an assortment of bracelets, including that one, and then I've got this really interesting kind of ladder
Yeah.
bracelet.
That's cool looking.
It is.
Talk
It
about
works.
a vintage look. That's spot on right there.
It works so well with this watch, right? But the problem that you run into when you're looking for aftermarket bracelets, it has to do with what kind of lugs you're dealing with, right? Because this,
Yeah.
this has got the hooded lug.
Mhm.
So there's a little bit of overhang, and it's almost like you can put just about anything in there and you aren't going to have a gap. It's going to work out pretty well.
So a good example I have of what you're talking about
Uh-huh.
is the Oceanographer G that I have. I wanted so bad to have it on a beads of rice, and I ordered a modern beads of rice, very thick, but it was a straight end link bracelet. And to put that on a curved case,
Yeah,
it did the job momentarily, but ultimately I took it off because I couldn't get past the straight link curved case look. And
with a
then
bracelet.
with a bracelet, yeah. And then you happened to come across that
Right.
super compressor that had the beads of rice with the curved end link on it, and you and I traded straps, and I put that one on the Ocean, and it's not a perfect fit,
but it's a whole lot
link
closer
to the case, but it's a curved end link, and it just gives you that look that you're after, and it looks so much better. And
no,
we'll put the comparison pics up too.
without question. I mean, so
Yeah.
this is a rivet bracelet that I got
Mhm.
from a place called eWatch Parts, and this is supposed to be for a Rolex, and it's an oyster style,
Mhm.
but it works fantastically on this watch.
And again, it's that vintage rivet look.
It's that vintage rivet look, and it looks like it belongs there. It looks like it's meant to be there. Another one though, and this is where things get to be a little bit manky, a little bit funky. So this is my vintage astronaut, and it's a beautiful watch. They came on a Bulova coffin link, which is considered the large coffin link. This is a small coffin link. I don't think that it's actually a Bulova manufactured bracelet. And if you can see the end link, it's close, but it's not exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of works, it kind of doesn't. But with the way that this watch sits, right, from the dial presence and the overhang from the bezel, you can't really tell. And so
you can't tell. Yeah, it
for
hides it nicely.
me, it works really, really well. And another one that I've got, and I want to give a shout out to this one. This is a little controversial. Some people really like it. Some people don't like it at all. It's the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
The expansion bracelet can work. Sometimes it can't, and it's going to depend. This is a vintage, and it's kind of a ladder style expansion. So it's got a different growth to it. This is without question, because the inside of it is just as curved. This is without question the most comfortable expansion bracelet that I've got.
Who makes that one? Who is
No
it?
clue.
It doesn't say.
It's from the 50s. I have no idea. Absolutely no clue whatsoever.
Because I have this one, not to cut you off. This is a Baldwin stretch. So this is one that I talked about, I think it was last episode, where it has the links that are, how would you put it? Not stretchable. And then you have
fixed. You have the fixed links, and then you have
and then the middle ones is where you get the expansion.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because, like you had mentioned before, it's not much of a hair puller as some of the expansions
and it has to do so like looking at your standard expansion is just going to be kind of this straight, and that one's more of the scissor, right?
This has got that scissor system to it.
And what I'm thinking is that like the scissor system was more expensive. This is a much cheaper method. Now the issue with these is, okay, you got to get it into the kind of the right size, and it works, but
it does. It expands and it allows it to roll over.
right. And so the issue I have personally as a music conductor, that if I have to do something that's kind of vigorous,
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden my watch, flaps around, which is really good for the self-winding style watches.
I feel like if you're directing that fast, it might be Flight of the Bumblebee. I don't know.
No, you obviously haven't dealt much with high school, and
No,
there. Sometimes you're doing that just to get somebody's attention. You never know. So, the expansion. Now there is a method to size expansions, but it involves pliers.
I was gonna ask you. So you had said.
I know. Somebody who can do
watches
it.
with Oliver.
Oh,
is
yeah.
that what his name is?
Yeah.
Yeah. He can size them. Does he size the hair puller style, or does he size
the hair pullers? Yeah. And he tried to explain it to me, and it involves you got to prise out the side, and then pull out another one, and pull out, and then kind of, and then it. And he's got a relatively slender wrist, and he's got
Mm-hmm.
expansions on most of his vintage caravels, and it's fantastic. They look great. I'm like, okay, you and me, we got to do this. We got to get this going.
So you sent him some already?
No, we got to hook up.
Oh,
because
okay.
he's up by another watchmaker that I frequent, and I gotta go.
Oh, so he's local to you. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is. He's relatively close by. And then another style that we can talk about, and I know this is not your favorite, Mike. I know this is your canvas.
Oh yeah, no, I can't get behind the canvas.
And so for me, the canvas works pretty well, and I've got it's comfortable. It's comfortable right out of the box. It's canvas though. And so it's gonna age differently. It's gonna wear differently, and in certain pieces it'll work well. In certain pieces it won't. I've had watches that I've purchased that came on canvas. It's like, eh. I've had watches that I purchased canvas for. It's like, eh. But for this one in particular, I like the canvas, and I feel that's pretty.
I love that watch, and for me, it ruins it being on that canvas. You got.
Oh, does it really?
For me, you got to change that strap out.
That's great.
You just got to change that out, so I can feel comfortable with it now.
All right, and kind of, I guess it might be. I mean, there's flat link, there's other kinds of links, but let's talk about mesh, right? And so you've got options for mesh.
Mm-hmm.
You've got kind of a Milanese mesh. You've got more of a sort of a shark mesh.
Yeah.
Bigger size.
Well, these ones I would say is more of a thicker Milanese. Shark mesh is a very different style.
It's a woven steel. It's sort of a chain link fence. And
so I think my favorite of all the mesh straps that I have, and I'm a big fan of mesh. I think mesh is a great alternative to not having a correct bracelet for something.
It works, right? Because you
mesh
get the
is
chance
kind of
like the end lugs.
It's kind of like the NATO strap of the bracelets. It goes with a lot of stuff. It's hard to make a bad pairing with a mesh strap.
Yeah.
I have not handy. We'll put a picture up again. My gold Devil Diver has a gold tapered Strapsco.
That's right, it does.
Mesh strap, and it is perfect. Wears perfect.
Was that aftermarket?
Lays perfect. The strap. It's a Strapsco tapered mesh.
Is it really?
It's no 20 millimeters down to 18.
No kidding. Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
It is the perfect fit. Looks like it should be factory.
I absolutely love that watch.
Yeah.
I think that's you did so good. You just I'm
when you're ready. That was one that I bid to win. That was the at all costs buy that watch. Because that one, as the story goes, a little sidebar here, and I went back 2 owners. I think I'm the 4th owner of it. So I went back, the guy who sold it to me and the guy that he bought it from even says he claims it was a display model and had always been stored away after it was done. And that's why it's a couple of little tiny marks here and there from being handled. It's perfect in every way. So that's a once in a lifetime buy on that one.
Well, when you're ready.
When I'm old and gray, I'll sell it to your son.
Perfect.
Yeah.
remember this name, boy.
Yeah.
Okay. And so kind of our end all be all is going to be the fitted bracelet. This is what I'm talking about. So,
Integrated bracelet.
kind of this, I'm integrated, fitted, and the reason that I wouldn't say integrated is because integrated bracelet, you're kind of stuck. This, if you notice between these two, between the red dial and the black dial, there's slight variation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now our center piece is 5 millimeters, but the shape is not exactly the same, and that's because on the red bracelet, that came from a Tissot, and the black dial has the original Bulova on it.
Which one do you prefer?
They both are comfortable. I actually think I prefer the Tissot, but it doesn't fit quite as well because it's not made for that case. And that's kind of the kicker for it.
I like the smaller links of the Bulova one. I think that's visually more pleasing.
It is visually more pleasing. I'll grant you that. I believe that the larger link is just a little bit more comfortable, or at least it is for me. So,
just a fun question: what is your favorite, most comfortable bracelet to wear? Like, what's your go-to?
I'm looking at a bullet style.
Are you?
Yeah, it's not gonna pull. Like your three link. Almost any one of them, something along those lines. I've got this on the Oceanographer V on this vintage. It doesn't pull. It's supple. It molds really well. There's a great way to adjust it. I'm sold. I'm sold on those. The problem is the end lugs. And it's getting those end lugs fit right and getting something that you have end lugs for. Because for me, I'm like you, the gap. I'm not a fan of the gap.
Yeah, for me, it's a jangly beads of rice. Like, so this is the Oceanographer with that beads of rice curve end links, and then so the thicker beads of rice that I initially bought for this one, I put on the Caravel Scuba. That has a straight case edge, and it pairs up perfectly with that. And that chunkier beads of rice matches the chunkier case better too.
Yeah.
But to me, there's nothing else that compares to the way a beads of rice wears. It lays just right. It's perfect. It's super comfortable.
Yeah, it's right up there in kind of that same sort of mesh space. That you've got a lot more moving parts for the beads of rice. So I've got, I have this 5 link that's on the reissue, and it's also really comfortable, but it's a different style. It's a different feel than that beads of rice is. And so the majority of my bracelets, the vintage, non-vintage, they're all kind of a 3 link bracelet. And I know that for me, that works pretty darn well. I'm really comfortable with that as a style. I'm comfortable with that as sort of a go-to. But now until I can get one, right? Because you got to find the right one, and you've got to go through the search, and you have to, until I can get one, I'm all about the Tropic because I'm picking up 666 dive watches. So for me, this is that Tropic that we traded. And on this watch, it's just fantastic. It works. It looks the part.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with it at all.
And even that one, I enjoyed wearing that little Tropic because that's a tapered Tropic too, and it's nice and thin. That thing wore beautifully.
Yeah, the vintage Tropic styles. They got the taper to it. They're really supple. Yeah. I'm sold. I think they're great.
So I was going to ask you, aside from leather, Tropics, rubbers, nylons, NATOs, what your favorite one was, but I guess you already answered that.
I'm good on Tropic, but see, so I have a personal quirk. I have an issue. I have a problem. I'm going to therapy, and I will not put a diver on leather.
What is your therapy? This podcast?
It's a talking cure. I'm working it out. It's still not going to change anything. It's more of a phobia. I will not put a diver on leather.
See, I've got no problem with that. And here's why. Vintage diver on leather. Are you really ever going to put in the water? You shouldn't. So you're okay with it being on leather.
Okay. And I hear what you're saying.
But I see you twitching.
It's like putting white walls on a race car.
Steve McQueen, Lightning McQueen had white walls at one point, and he looked fantastic.
Right. You're talking about the cartoon? That's the Disney cartoon?
Yeah.
That's what you're going for? That's your response.
Exactly.
Lightning McQueen.
Sticking with it.
Lightning McQueen. That's your exception to the rule and how everything works out?
Had white walls and chrome red paint.
Uh-huh.
I feel like there's a more to your divers on leather rant, so let's hear it.
Those watches, it's the tool watch aesthetic. It's the tool watch design. And it's not meant for leather because the leather would not hold up. Now, there is the argument to be said that a lot of the Panerais were originally on leather, but that's kind of because that's what they had at the time. Then you see some of the original dive watches were mostly on bracelets. So you go back to Omega, you go back to the first Rolex Oyster cases, and those were all on bracelets of some sort. I am more of a fan of the bracelet because it just wears a little bit better. I do like the Tropics, and I like some of the technical straps that you can throw onto a diver, but leather, even if it's a desk diver, you're not going to do it.
You're not having it. See, and I don't mind it because I think there's a lot of great leather style options to further customize the diver look.
I don't disagree with that, and I understand, and for me completely, I'm shooting myself in the foot because here we'll throw up a shot of my strap graveyard, and I think that most collectors have that somewhere, and yours may be into a varying different state of organization compared to mine. However,
not by much.
Probably not.
Well, ours don't come in a nice craftily made folio, but
we aren't spending that much money on them either.
Yeah.
And so you keep the watch comes on a certain strap or bracelet, and you keep that, and you swap it out, and you change it out, and you tweak it, and you throw it around. I mean, so case in point is you've got that double diver A, the Fume dial. And it came on whatever it came on, and you were going to sell it to me. And I said,
it came on a very cool bracelet, but to me, that's not a bracelet watch.
Well, right. And so, we can kind of do a side by side here of the two watches
quite easily,
because you've got yours on this beautiful sailcloth, and I've got mine on kind of a 3-link bracelet. And now, to be honest, that bracelet showed up on a different watch that I got, and it just didn't work on that. However, I think it works really well on this. And so maybe we'll throw up a poll, and we'll let you viewer decide.
I had bought that strap for a watch that I built, actually the 55 fathoms that's on the Warnacoff NATO right now, because the 55 fathoms and the sailcloth straps are pretty synonymous with each other.
Right.
But as time went on, I changed straps on that watch and just had that one sitting there. And you had said, well, don't you have that sailcloth? Why not, before you make the mistake of selling it, try it out, see how it was.
Which I have to admit, no, listen, this is very against my nature to not have somebody sell me a 666 watch.
Yeah.
And I feel bad about it, but I have one of my own now, so I'm okay. We're going to talk about that gold one, though. We will have words.
And here's the thing, too. That Sea Devil with the Fume dial was always kind of like a card in my back pocket to trade you with something or to sell you one day. But then, was it I that sent you the listing to that one that you have?
I believe you did.
That's the kind of friend that I am. I gave up my ace in my sleeve so that you, too, could have one as well. But that sailcloth, it worked perfectly. And plus mine has the gray stitching on it, and I think that matches the dial just right. And I have fallen in love all over again with that watch. And I
Yeah,
wear it quite
it
regularly. Even
changes.
if I don't post it, I do wear it quite regularly. And
The right combination, resuscitates them from the dead, you know.
And that's why, again, I love the NATO strap so much, because even if you get tired of looking at a certain combination, $5 will buy you another NATO strap. Throw it on there, and then you're good to go for a few more months until you get tired of that one. And then the options are endless. So
They
really,
really are.
outside of bracelets and outside of leathers, my favorite strap is going to be that NATO strap.
I don't disagree with you. I've got a bunch. You can do the color combinations. You can try it in a variety of different ways.
And I am the guy who cuts that bottom strap off.
Do you?
On certain ones, yeah. If it's like that No Time to Die one that I have, that one wore pretty thick, so I cut that off, and I got the lighter out and heat singed the ends of it so it wouldn't fray. And so mine's technically a single pass now. So I have a couple that are like that.
All right. Well, I think we've come to that time. You got a kind of a last call here, sir?
So yeah, we do actually. Some super exciting news. So let's start by talking about the auction. The auction is still live. It ends
by the time we view this, the auction will be over. It will be done,
so,
and we will have raised money for the World Central Kitchen.
So we are recording the day that the auction ends. So we don't have the numbers to tell you right now, but of course we're going to post it all over Instagram. However, we have been kind of bombarding everybody with posts on our pages and posts on the show page and stories and that. And I think it's pretty well warranted, because we're trying to reach as many people as possible. And we're trying to raise money for a good cause, because so if you guys don't follow really closely what's going on, when we announced that we were going live with the auction, the World Central Kitchen in Ukraine actually got hit by an airstrike. And yes, it really demolished the building that they were using. So they need the money now more than ever, to rebuild, to relocate, to keep feeding people. They're not going to stop. That's not the end of it. I mean, they're going to keep moving forward with their cause.
And after this conflict is over, they'll go to the next one.
And exactly, yeah. So we're still pushing forward with what we've got. This morning, this is Sunday. This watch isn't running, so I don't know what the date is. What are we on, Joe? What's today's date? 23rd?
Today is the 24th.
24th. So this Sunday, the 24th, I'm minding my own business, doing my own thing. I get a message through, or we rather get a message through the Spring Bar Instagram account from the head of Bulova Marketing. Said, we appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you for having this auction, for wanting to help. We are going to match whatever the winning bid is up to $350, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I don't think our listing is going to get that high either. But it's going to double what we do get. And for them to recognize us, A, as a emerging show, B, as Bulova Nuts, and C, to extend their hand to help us out, is just, I was completely taken aback by getting that message this morning.
Very floored. Very, very, yeah. And humbled also, because it's nice that it's the one thing is that, okay, it's kind of stunning that we're on their radar, and that they're looking at us as a podcast, as a YouTube video site, but also as Bulova fans. And so it's kind of nice to know that in some way we have gotten the attention of corporate. And so our love for the brand and our love for those watches in particular, that we can really speak to that. And we know it's not falling on deaf ears, but then for them to reach out and to say, you know what, not only do we hear you, but we support you. It's incredibly gratifying.
Absolutely. Very, very good. Very thankful for them to do that. They didn't have to do that.
No, not at all.
No, so
not at all.
I can't thank Bulova enough. I can't thank their marketing team enough. So hopefully we made that last push this morning to do our advertising for it. Hopefully we get that last minute sniper at the end who just really wants it but is holding out. So we'll see where it ends up. And hopefully by the time you guys are listening to this, we'll be able to share with you the amount that was donated, matched by Bulva, and we can all give ourselves a pat on the back and because we try to do something good in the world. So very cool. So again, thank you, Bulva. I don't know if you guys are listening. If you are, we genuinely appreciate you. And I'm so glad that when I started my watch collecting journey a couple of years ago now, and really my journey hasn't been that long as yours is, and some people.
Right.
But I'm glad I fell into Bulva space, because really great company, fantastic history, and we've talked about it for a long time. We still need to do an all Bullivan episode, like you did with SoCal Watch Reviews last week.
We'll get there.
We need to do our own. So
we'll get there. I've got some ideas. Things are percolating here in the brain pan.
And who knows? Maybe we made a new friend in the marketing team, and maybe we can have somebody from their marketing group join us one day on a show. So I don't know. We'll see where this can go. I'm not going to hold my breath, but anything is possible at this point. I never thought that Bulva would reach out and donate some money with us, and so who knows? We'll see what happens. So that's my last call. You got anything, Joe? Or
I can't top that.
It's hard to beat, right?
It really is.
It's hard to beat. So, Joe, how can everybody get a hold of us?
We are the Spring Bar Podcast. You can find us hashtag the Spring Bar Podcast. Give us your watch shots and any drink shots and any meetups that you want us to advertise for you. We'll be happy to do so. You can find us on Instagram at the Spring Bar Podcast. I am Joe the OC, and you can find me at Watch Taylor Youth. All one word, WATCHTAYLORUPH on Instagram. Mike.
I am 120 clicks, all spelled out, one long word, 120 clicks. And I have a new logo. So if you are used to seeing my old logo, which was a green 120, it's now changed. I have kind of like a little surfboard chronograph style logo. Look for me. I'm the same person, just a great new look. So for our absent host, he is what, Joe?
Time_hack1638. And you can also find
him. You did it again. And I caught this when you went on SoCal Watch Reviews. You gave everybody the wrong Instagram name. Shit. So he is actually time_hack1636. 1636. Yeah. I was screaming. I was listening on the radio, and I was screaming at you through the radio.
1636. Okay.
So yeah. So Casey, he's still away in his schooling. We tried to record with him yesterday, and last minute our schedules just didn't quite mix. So
life happened.
Maybe we'll try and get him on here again.
Get him back on, because I know that he desperately wants to have some watch discussions going on here. So
yeah.
And you can find him on YouTube at Minuteman. He's got some review stuff going on there as well. So
yeah, and don't forget, you can email us to springbarpodcast@gmail.com. I think that about wraps it up.
Certainly does.
Another great episode in the books. All right. Joe, cheers.
Cheers.